It's your brother from another mother that surely ain't got no other. This AB.Marley. Hey guys, how we doing today?
It's your girl Nivaeyah, your sister from another M.I.N.D.S.E.T, because you know
Papa
Papa
was
was
a
a
Rolling
Rolling
Stone.
Stone, and today is a Monday.
And we're going to get into our last acronym that we have gone through throughout this entire time, which is going to be T for talking. You see, when you guys, we have showed you how to break down the mindset of your mind. That's not retarded. How to break down to dealing with your own mind. And we broke down them into acronyms and gave you guys definitions. So we've got M for mentality. You must always make sure how your mental health is going so that you are able to take care of things in your life in a proper manner. When you go into I, that is for involving. When you involve yourself in making sure that your health is good, you are able to assess a situation more properly than doing it based on your emotions. When you navigate around any type of obstacle that comes your way, you are able to see not only through it, but you can see around it and over it and under it. And it does not matter which way that you go as long as you understand the pros and cons of the actions that you take. When you see the dream that you have but other people don't, that's okay because you're going to D for determination. When you take that opportunity to keep your head up and you are going to work hard at perceiving or having a preservation for what you truly care about, there's nothing in this world that can stop you from getting to that dream. It might not take as quickly as you like it to be, but that's part of the process. There's a start, there's a middle, and there's an end. You cannot start somewhere and hope to skip over the process just to get to the end. You have to understand what you have in your life that you can be determined to keep it and hold on to it. And then once you get to that part of your life and that aspect, then you get into which I like to call salvation, because you're seeking peace within yourself. You are happy at the route that you are going because you're checking your mental health, you're involving yourself in certain things, you're navigating around people and energies that don't correlate with yours so that you are not, laying on it for too dang long. You're not letting anybody talk you down into completing the dream and the goals that you have for yourself, the idea of who you really can be. When you finally do all of that, you know how much peace of mind that you can have because you are not letting anybody else stop you from being who you truly can. And then once we get into E, which is exercise. So you know how like when you're at the gym and you see a lot of people that are toned up and have that fit body type and you have that idea of what your body should look like because you compare yours to theirs. It's about the process. Exercising both the physical and the mental mind and even your emotions help you correlate with being a understandable adult. You've had trials, you've had issues, you've had situations that happen, both in the good aspect and the bad. Doesn't actually mean that you're a horrible person, just means that you're still going through the learning process. And in order to get to that lean body that you want or that upper muscular torso, or you want those like at least even if you want to like lose some weight, you have to have that determination, the confidence, the mindset, the involvement, and the navigation to get to that idea of body that you truly want for yourself. And the same can be said about your mind when you make positive reinforcements for yourself, when you make the aptitude to say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to learn today. I'm going to read this book today about my self-worth. Or I'm going to read this book about an open mind. Or I'm going to take this time to I'm going to have this type of education for myself that doesn't correlate with my own culture, that doesn't correlate with my ideals. And let me see what it looks like to be on the other side for a minute, because then you can keep an open mind on not being so closed-minded about the world around you, because you got to remember something about yourself. When you set yourself up for all those things, it's time to talk about it. Because there has been such a journey and a process to get to that point that you did. It's good to pat yourself on the back and admire what you've done in this time frame. So those are the acronyms for Mindset Mondays, people. We've done. How about you, Nivaeyah? Like, have you had moments where we went through these acronyms and you felt like you evolved in some form of way, or you started using some of these tactics for yourself, or you've already been doing it? I want the audience to know this.
I mean, it's like through throughout, us doing these Mindset Monday, um, us dropping these things, these are things that I have used before this. But at the same time, I think, we live our lives that we forget that there are things that you can do in your life to push through and to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And, you and I were talking earlier, and we were just talking about how, like, people need to talk. We need to engage with one another. And that's, yes, that is involvement, but at the same time, talking is one of the best forms of communication that you will ever have with anyone. And that's even with yourself. You have to talk to yourself. I'm not saying talk to yourself like as if like you are going through a thing. I mean, talk to yourself, like motivate yourself. Push yourself to do things that you don't think that you can do. But you will never be able to get to that point if you don't talk to yourself. If you don't talk to other people. If you don't communicate. Communicating is everything. That's through your body language. That's through your voice. That's through writing. That's through text. When I say text, I'm not talking about like phone texting. I'm talking text like words. Okay?
When you basically put your words together, and if it doesn't make any sense to me, that tells me that you're trying to hold back the way you're feeling.
No, not text like that. I'm talking like a textbook, a book, like text, like reading, like it. There is so many different forms of way of communicating and talking, signing. Like sign language. It's more than just a high and by situation.
Yeah.
You definitely have to evaluate who you are and who it is that you are communicating with and what type of level you can reach when you communicate to this individual. You can't talk to everyone the same way because everyone perceives you in different light.
Yep, that comes with the different cultures of the world. It's because your parents are slightly different from mine doesn't mean that we don't have some similarities. But we gotta remember something. Like, I guess the best example I can break, and I'm gonna make this short and sweet to the point, baby. I've lived with the roommates one was Puerto Rican, one was white, and I was black.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole melting pot.
Okay. So the black and the Puerto Rican, clearly I'm one of them. But, like we had so many similarities when it comes to the parenting. There were some big major differences, but how we handled things and our thought process was the same. It was pretty much like point for point. Well, then we had our other roommate who didn't really see everything eye to eye the way that we see it. And at first when I met this individual, it was like, you're hollering, you're screaming at me, you're raising your voice, you are acting, a little different. That's not what I'm used to. And it was like, it took us to like have a sit down conversation to be like, listen, people around you explain to me that this is who you are just based on where you came from. And don't take that too personally because he doesn't fully understand some things. And it's like, okay, I'll take that into consideration. It's the same thing that it is with my auntie. I got family members that don't understand certain things of the aspect. And when we have these conversations, it's like she say like the darnest things, pretty much, and it can sound offensive, but it's like she did not mean to intend to say it that way. It's just that she doesn't have the right way of going about it or trying to explain it.
I can understand that. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different cultures, ethnicities, different countries.
Yes.
It's difficult being here, in the U.S. and you don't look at anything outside of the country because you're only looking at from here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are exposed to something different, you may or may not get offended by it because you don't understand it.
Yep.
And that's the problem. A lot of us, we don't really try to assess the situation. We don't talk about it. We don't go through it. We just look at it from our own perspective and we're like, well, I don't like the way this is. This is why it's going to be. I mean, even with religion, religion is one of those big, broad type of things where you have a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of miscommunication, and because people don't communicate, because people don't talk, there will always be a riffraff between different ideologies when it comes to religion, because everyone feels like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be, and that's what I said, and that's that. But if you're not doing your proper research, if you're not talking to the people who actually really did it, to be honestly clear, whatever religion that was made, especially any religion from a long time ago, none of us here that are alive today knows anyone that was alive back in those times when those religions were made. So we can't even really. They all have one common goal, which there is a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, and no matter what religion it is, they always tell you to love other things.
I feel like a lot of that in there was just put in because of the misrepresentation and the way that people took it, and it's all based on somebody's perspective, and that's based on where you grew up, and that is how the misinterpretation of the word of what people say God has been misconstrued. Because to me, even as an atheist, I sit here and I thought about it. I like, this is not for me, because the people that speak the words, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying those ones that really use a wolf in sheep's clothing, as they like to say, where they just fool you. Your followers are fools when it comes to misrepresentation of what you preach. But if there's the true words of God, it's not in the book, it's in your essence of who you are. If you know what is good and bad, if you know what you need to do to make some improvements, then you don't need a book to tell you that. You just need to know yourself. There's a way to learn and process it, because as a child you don't know a lot. But I know one thing, as a child, when you do bad things and you don't have an understanding of that, then it's like punishment due to what you have done. There's a cause and effect of your actions.
Exactly, but the reason why you get the punishment and the reason why is because at the end of the day, there is still a form of communication. Mm-hmm. You will never know anything that you have done bad if no one ever told you this is bad. You will never know what is right from wrong if you don't, one, go through the experiences, and two, you don't talk. It's like once again, being in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone and things don't seem to be working out the way that you want them to be, if you have a partner and your partner is always unhappy, mm-hmm. but you see that your partner is unhappy, but you never talk to them, you will never be able to fix it. You will never be able to fix it because you are, one, ignoring the problem, and two, you aren't communicating. So you're never going to get anywhere.
That's a double-edged sword to me, because at the same time, my thing about, when you're dealing with a relationship, regardless of what it is, it's not just up to your partner to catch you out of the darkness or the pain in your heart. It's up to you too, and you have to realize that everything and how you run things is not always right. Everything that goes on in the life, there's two different people with two different backgrounds, with two different lifestyles, with all that said and done. You have to remember that you are a separate person from the other, and if you guys come together, you got to debate, communicate, and acknowledge when the facts are being brought to your attention, and acknowledge when you're wrong. And then after that, there's nothing else to be said. Because you guys, you can always continue to say stuff, but there's that dynamic of communication, because you built that bond, you've had those conversations, you got to know that individual, and by paying attention when they do certain things, you can always catch it. So all I'm saying is,
either way it go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we wrap it. It doesn't matter how we spin it.
Yes.
The bottom line is, if we're gonna do anything in your life, you have to talk. You can't get nowhere. You can't open a business if you don't talk to nobody. You can't get a loan from a bank to open your business if you don't talk to nobody.
Right.
You can't get employees if you don't talk to nobody.
And that goes for both lower and higher ups. It goes for everybody.
You can't build a relationship with anyone if you don't talk. It doesn't matter if it's your friends, family, cousin, people you went to school with, whatever the case is. You won't get
friends. Like, you can just say,
Well,
From
when
acquaintances to friends to family, and then business, and then that's really
either
how
way
you
it go.
do it.
Either way it go. The only way you're ever going to get anywhere is you have to talk, and talking doesn't necessarily mean that it's always bad. It can be good too. I mean, we talk about these things because we want you to tell us how things are happening for you.
Yeah.
Talk to us like we talk to you guys. It's not just us telling you guys what to do, but we also want to know, how has this helped you? What things have changed in your life because you have been doing some of these things? Did good things happen? Did bad things happen? If bad things happen, why did they happen? Did you assess the situation? Did you talk about it? Did you try to figure it out?
Yep.
Or did you just blow past it and just said, oh, it happened, whatever? You won't ever go nowhere unless you talk. Talking is the most important thing you can ever do. I don't care if you write it on a piece of paper. I don't care if you blow your breath on the window and you put your finger to it and you spell it out. Talking is talking.
Say something. Please open your mouth and let words fly, even if you feel like you're wrong about it. And I mean that in the sense where if you can't get the sentence out that you're trying to get, or you're trying to get your point across, the whole point of it is, it sounds better in your head than if you say it out loud. So when we say talk to yourself, communicate with yourself, it's like speaking to existence what you're thinking. And when you say it out loud, then you realize how
powerful it is,
how powerful it could be, or how weak it really is. Like, that's the whole mindset blown that you.
Think about it like this. If you always say to yourself, "Oh man, I can't do this. I can't do that," then you speaking that into existence because you telling yourself what you can't do. And not only are you not telling yourself what you can't do, you're also not doing it. So you are putting that into fruition because you said that you can't. Now, if you go into yourself and you like, man, I'm gonna get this job today. I'm gonna get this car today. I'm finna make so and so amount of money this week so I can try to get this. Like, then you're going to be able to do it because not only are you saying it, but you're also putting action behind the words that you are saying. Mm-hmm. That's talking any and everything that you want in your life to be in existence into existence. Talking is the most powerful thing you could ever do. Your tongue is the most powerful weapon that you have, that you own, that is free.
And make sure when we have these conversations and we have this communication, I want people to understand the most important thing. They say that communication is key, but in all actuality, it's listening. When you take that time to listen, you can run your mouth all day and night. Don't mean anybody listening to you. It's until that you take that time to listen to other people too and go, look here, at the end of the day, I got something to say too. If you want to get something off your chest, you gotta let me get what I got off my chest. And I best believe it'll make me feel better because I said it. I'm not, because you got those certain people that keep repeating the same sentence, making sure that you heard them. It's like, it's not like I didn't hear you, but you just wanted a reaction from it. Let's be real about that.
Man!
I'm going in! I'm going in!
Man, how many times have you ever been in an argument with someone and before you can even finish your statement, they already cut you off and they like, well, I did, because they're listening to respond. They're not listening to understand. They listening just so that they can hear one key word and go, nope, this is how I feel about it.
You're hearing what you want, or you're blocking out what you're hearing, and you
halfway hearing.
Yeah, well, it goes in one ear and out the other ear. My mom used to tell me that stuff all the time. Love you.
Gotta love our moms. Hi, Mom.
I had to speak that truth though, to be real about that. Like, I had that, like, I hear what I want, and that became a problem in the dynamic of the relationship that I was in, for that simple fact that I stopped listening. And the whole point we trying to make is the same thing. Listen. Hear what has been said. Take into account. Like, if you need a moment to pause and think about it, that's okay. Ain't nobody can catch everything that quickly. I can't. I'm one of those people, you could tell me a whole story. I'll be quiet for a good 5 minutes. And just think about everything that you said. And I think of, like 10, 20 different scenarios of how this possibly can go. So by the time I come back with you with the questions, it's like I can finally break down those other ideas that don't fit or correlate with what I was talking about earlier. And then I'm ready to go with the next thing. Yeah, it took me a good minute, but you know what? At the end of the day, I got the answer I was looking for. I got to hear a different perspective, and I kept my mind open because I didn't judge that person just based off the little information that I got. I actually dug in deep and wanted to know more about it. So you guys, always, always, always make sure you take care of yourself in any way, in any definition, to make sure that life can be as good as it possibly can for you. And also making sure, like, if you didn't find solace or salvation in yourself and you had to find it through your, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm using big words. Maybe my brain wasn't ready for it. But my point I'm trying to make is, if you could not find that peace within yourself, and it took, you know, like having a child to change that, or you try to put yourself through a marriage, let me explain something to you. And this is from a kid from the generations where, you know, there was a lot of emotional baggage that came with life, and they didn't know how to handle it. And to this day, I'm still learning myself, but you still are gonna have those problems regardless if you're in a relationship, regardless if you have a child, regardless if you have a job. Whatever you do in your life, those problems will still remain there. Take the steps that you need to acknowledge it, to do process, and to make sure that you have completed that goal. Pat yourself on the back, look back for only a moment and say, this is how far I come, and say, God dang it, now there's another thing I gotta do. That's all I want you guys to ever try and do. We want you guys to take this opportunity, take these next few weeks to rewatch over Mindset Mondays through all the acronyms. Tell us what you guys think. Tell us how do you feel. Where do you correlate with it? And also make sure to let you guys know, because Nivaeyah and I have decided that we're going to be adding in a new segue, a new...
Alright, so...
She gonna tell the secret. I'm gonna let her do that.
So, we're going to be actually doing a new series that we're going to be dropping every Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, we're going to be dropping a new segment. It's called Top Tuesdays, which basically we are dropping bombs on any and every type of subject that we want to talk about. So it's not going to be like an acronym or anything like that. Whatever category that we want to talk about that day, we're just going to talk about it.
Yep.
So we're going to be uploading twice a week, one on Mondays and one on Tuesdays.
I'm going to be
2 times. Those times.
Yes, and this is why we want you guys to be excited for it. We want your feedback. Make sure you guys subscribe to AB.Marley and Nivaeyah. Check us out.
Like us too. We like y'all. If y'all like us, y'all hit that like button.
Hit that like button. You know, like it's that little thumbs up on the side right here. Just click. And I also want you guys to know, take well good care of yourselves. I hope to catch y'all in the next video. Peace in the Middle East, and find love within yourself. Alright, laters.
Don't forget to talk it out to yourself and other people. And it's your girl, Nivaeyah.
AB.Marley.
Peace.
What's up? How y'all doing? We're testing a few things out to see if it works pretty goddamn well. It's your brother from another mother. The truth ain't got no other. It's AB.Marley. Hey guys, how we doing today? I looked at her ass and she didn't have nothing fucking ready. You should know this by now.
I'm not even. I'm just a figment of your imagination. Alright, y'all.